the presentation, press the Start Broadcast button on the GoToWebinar control panel to allow all attendees to hear you. This system will notify you once you begin your broadcast. The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
14，14，我给你念一遍，您自己介绍一下您。不是你介绍，我给他念。没事，您就介绍一个单位和那什么就行了。Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone in Europe, and good afternoon for those who are located in Beijing or China. We will start our webinar, the IEC TC 6601 transmission adoption process in China, in 1 minute. Before we start our presentation, we are honorably invited to Dr. Zheng Jia, who is working for the Institute of Medical Device Standards Management of the National Institute for Food and Drug Control, and she's responsible for standards management of active medical devices. And she will make some introduction for our IEC 6601 progress. And here we just list her resume here for your reference. And we will start our presentation in 30 seconds. Okay, welcome to our webinar, and Dr. Zheng Jia will make some introduction, and she will start her presentation right now.
Hello everyone. This is Jiazheng from CMDSA, the Center for Medical Device Standardization Administration. And today I will give a brief introduction about the progress of IEC 60601 transformation in China. I will talk about two topics. The first topic is about the progress of IEC 6061-1 transformation, and another topic is about the progress of collateral standards and particular standards. As we all know, the IEC 60601 series standards is very important, not only in China, but also to all over the world, medical device regulation and industry. And the series standards is about the basic safety and basic performance of medical electrical equipment. And it will affect all medical electrical equipment. And in China, most of the series standards are mandatory standards. This table list gives information about the transformation in China about the series standard previous edition. Actually, in 1988, China adopted IEC 601-1 first edition transformed in China. And in 1995 and 2007, China transformed the second edition and the amendment. And for the third edition, China is under transformation. This graph gives the information about the total progress for the transformation, including 4 stages: preliminary research stage, proposed stage, and drafting stage, and the reporting preparation stage. I will talk about a little bit about what we have achieved in each stage. In the preliminary research stage, we learned IEC released the third edition in 2005, and with major change in safety concept. And NMPA, the National Medical Products Administration, attached great importance to the transformation of the new edition. And commented by NMPA, our center collected opinions from different stakeholders, and we organized several discussions to discuss the transformation and the implementation of the new edition in China. Based on the investigation and the suggestion from different stakeholders, we finally established the transformation plan for the new edition. And a working group with a diverse range of specialists from different stakeholders was established to undertake the research on the new edition of 60601-1. In the preliminary research stage, we achieved the translation version for the new standards. Actually, it may not be a big problem for the English native speaking country, but it's really a big challenge in China because we don't actually, English is not our native language. So actually more than 100 volunteers from different stakeholders participate in the translation. And this translation version actually is basic material for further transformation. And another achievement, we make a detailed comparison between the third edition and the previous second edition. We noticed the IEC published a table to compare these two editions. Then in China, we do further analysis, including the level of risk analysis for each class, and also the changes between the two editions in requirement and test method. And we also analyze if we need to purchase new test equipment to comply with the new standards. And we also make analysis about how to improve in product design to comply with the standards, and what is the implementation impact to the regulation and the industry. And we have chosen 18 typical products and 9 testing institutes and 5 industries participate in the simulation test. From the simulation test, we summarize some key points for lab test and for product design, and these will go to our training material to help our test lab and manufacturer how to best comply with the standards. After the preliminary research stage, after the 3.1 edition formally released in 2012, we start to propose to transform the new edition. Actually, the new proposal application will start from 2013, and we finished oral defense of mandatory standards in 2013 October, and the proposal is finally got approved in 2014 September. After proposal, actually it's only take 1.5 years to finish the draft. We organize a drafting working group, including testing lab and some typical manufacturers. And we open to public comments for several months. And in the end of 2015, we organized the technical review meeting. More than 100 participants in the meeting. And finally, the draft got approved by the TC10 members. I think the main question about the transformation is why we have got the vote in 2015, but actually the new standard hasn't been published until now. There are two main reasons for delaying the release in progress in China. One of them is the international standard is very unstable. After we finished the voting, we learned IEC decided to revise the third edition again, the 3.1 edition again. And another factor delays the release in progress is China's standardization reform. A lot of normalized reference standards in the new edition change from mandatory to voluntary in China. So China actively follow up the progress of the international edition 3.2. As we learned, actually IEC have received more than 300 revision suggestions. After discussion, IEC decide for current information, decide to revise more than 100 technical contents in the new edition. As we know in China, these series standards will be mandatory standards, just like technical regulation. So if there's too many errors in the regulation, it will cause some it will bring some negative effect to the manufacturer and also to the regulation. So consider all these factors to guarantee the mandatory standards can be implemented successfully in China. China's government decided to postpone the progress of the new standards and evaluate the impact of a new Amendment 2 transformation. But unfortunately, as we know, the IEC's overall work was lagging behind, and the Amendment 2 published plan has been postponed to the end of this year, maybe more later. In 2018, taking full account of the work of industry, the suggestion, we decided to restart the revision of the new standards. In the new version, we will consider some contents from the draft Amendment 2, and also we will try to coordinate with national standards. This graph lists some main difference between the GB standards and IEC standards. We have added some technical requirements. For example, we add the plug requirement. The plug need to comply with the national standards. And also we replace 50 national standards, replace the international standards, and 8 of them is modified, adopt international standards. So there are some technical difference between international standards. And we also keep reference 11 international standards. And in the technical content part, we delete some regional difference, regional devised some notes from the standards because they're not actually related to Chinese situation. About the next plan for the new edition, in March of this year, we will organize a technical review for the new version of standards. Hopefully we can report all the new standards to SAC after that meeting. And our center will organize discussion to develop the implementation plan, including to establish reasonable transition period. And during the transition period, both the new and the old national standard can be effective. And also we will publish some training material and also some testing protocol for the testing lab. We have finished talking about the progress of the IEC General 6061 General Standard Transformation. In the next part, I will give a brief introduction about the transformation progress for collateral standards and particular standards. The graph shows the structure of the whole IEC 60601 series standards. Except the general standards, there are 8 collateral standards and about more than 60 particular standards. In China, we have transformed these collateral standards and particular standards step by step. We hope we can synchronize implement implement all the series standards. About the collateral standards, except the -1, -9, all of the other 7 collateral standards has been transformed. Some standards is still waiting publish. And about the particular standards, there's the 65 particular standards is transformed by 10 technical committee and subcommittees. 59 particular standards has been approved to transform, and 21 standards has finished transformation and waiting for approval. Some other particular standards plan to report in this year, and most of them are mandatory in China, except the -2, -66. And we also learned IEC still releasing new particular standards. All of the particular standards will be transformed in time. In the particular standards, currently we are not going to plan to transform the following 3 standards, including -2, -23, -2, -59, and -2, -67, because some of them we haven't got relative products in China, and for -2, -67, the device is not regulated in China as a medical device. So currently we are not going to transform this. Okay, that's the main contents for today's presentation. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for listening. And we will give 5 minutes for questions. We will answer some questions on site. If you have questions, please do not hesitate. Just connect it on the, just put it on the system. Okay, we will try to show several several questions and try to answer. The first question would be, when do you expect GB 79.61 to be effective?
As I just introduced, we will organize a technical review in March, and hopefully we can report to ICC after that meeting. It is really hard to say when the new standard can be released. Hopefully we can release the new standards in these 2 years.
Okay, another question. Is a list of particular standards available that will become published in 2020?
We hope to publish all these particular standards together with general standards.
Okay. Are there any other questions? I have a question. Maybe I can ask outside to make us better understanding about the process. If just if GB standards like the adoption of IEC 6601 GB 9706 being published, will there be some transition period for this for the use of the two version of the standards in China for medical devices? Will there be some transition period?
Yes, sure. We will set the reasonable transition period. And during the transition period, both the old version and the new version will be effective.
So we come to another more specific, more solid question. How long will be the transition period that edition 2.2 and edition 3.1 can be used both? I mean, do you think the transition period should be 3 years or 2 years or 1 year? How long do you think?
I think the transition period is still under discussion. Based on the current policy for mandatory standards, it's normal in China. It's normally about 2 or 3 years.
So basically, 2 or 3 years could be very reasonable transition period
for current mandatory standards.
Okay. So another question: what are the steps after the technical review in March until final publication?
After the technical review, we will report all the standards and to the SAC, the Standards Administration. They will have some procedure for review these standards. And if the review progress is going well, hopefully we can publish the standards very soon.
Okay, another question. Hello, I'm Amanda Su from the Spanish Association for Standardization of Spain. I mean, do China implemented 3.1 or waiting for 3.2?
Originally, we want to transform directly the 3.2, but unfortunately, IEC keep delay the publishing, releasing step for 3.2. So for currently, we will reference some technical amendment from 3.2, but still transform 3.1.
So China will implement it 3.1 first?
Yes.
Okay. So it's firm that 3.1 will be adopted and implemented in China rather than 3.2. Another question, will the presentation be distributed after the call? I mean, do you agree that we distribute this PPT to the participants?
Actually, all the information can be found from our website, so there's no additional information in my presentation.
Okay, so we will get the permission. Do you need to get the permission from your organization to distribute this presentation, or we can?
I mean, most of the information can be found from our website, so I think there's no need to distribute my presentation.
So the problem is the website is in Chinese.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
We can discuss this later.
Okay. We will discuss this distribution of the presentation with the Dr. Zheng and her organization for that. Another question is we are very interested in IEC 6661 transformation in China. Could you please send me the presentation? Again, we are talking about the presentation as we have to get the authorities approval or her organization's approval for that. So we come to the next question. What does this mean using 3.1 and part of 3.2 for type test standards?
The current standard in China is still adopting 3.1. But after the publish of 3.2, we may think about publish some amendment for the standards. But for currently, it's still using 3.1.
The question is part of 3.2 will part of 3.2 used for type test?
No, currently we haven't adopted 3.2 because it has been published.
Okay, so 3.2 is not under adoption at this moment and will not be used for the type test.
Actually, 3.2 hasn't been published.
Okay. So another question is, could you please give me the link of the presentation? Again, this as we discussed, we have to discuss this information, the presentation distribution with authors, with organization of Dr. Zheng Jia. Any other questions? We will give another 2-3 minutes. If you have questions, please list your questions on the question section, so we can answer that online or on site. Okay, here come another question. Will existing products have to be compliant with 3.2 after transition period of recertification? 3.2, 3.1 actually. I mean, will existing products have to be compliant with 3.1 after transition period for recertification?
I'm not very clear about the word existing products. It means the product has been sold on the market or has been used in the hospital. If that's its mean, I think there's no need. There's no need to comply with the new standards.
So it means that if the product has already been used in the hospital, you don't have to do recertification anymore. But if, for example, our current products have the certification already, but it's still on the market, it's still just enter the market. But the transition period has after the transition period, will such products need to be recertificated again?
Because in China, the products need to be recertificated for 5 years. I cannot remember the actual period. So it's no matter the ministry come to implement or not.
Okay. Okay. Again, the sound quality is really poor, so it would help if the presentations could be distributed after webinar. Okay, I think this is we are far away from China. We will try to contact our service provider to see whether we can have a better quality of our networking connection, or maybe because in the afternoon, 4 p.m. in the afternoon is a rush hour for all the Chinese users. We will try our best to improve the quality, and also I think maybe Dr. Zheng Jia, we can have the simplified or agreed approval version for the presentation after that, if it's possible.
We can discuss this.
Okay, we will discuss this later. So another question is, as IEC 6601 is developed very well in China, so we would like to learn your experience.
Yeah, any discussion about how to transform the standards is welcome. So you can get my contact information and we can keep in touch.
Okay. And another question, is our understanding correct that the devices must be compliant with 3.1 at the point of certification and not at the time of publishing the 3.1?
As I'm not from the regulation department, our department is responsible for the standards administration. So I'm not sure about the recertification regulation. But as far as I learned for current, not for the 3.1, but for the mandatory standards, that's as far as I understand, it can be just comply with the 3.1 as a point of recertificate. But the manufacturer needs to comply with the new mandatory standards when it's coming to effect.
Okay. Any more questions? Do you mind they have your contact details and then contact you later?
No.
Okay.
Share my contact
Okay.
information. In PPT, I have given the my email address and my telephone number. And if you have any further question, welcome to contact me at your convenience.
Yeah. Here, please write down the contact details for Dr. Zheng Jia, and if you have any further questions, you can ask her directly via email. Okay. Okay, there's a little minor error here, so we just change that. Okay, if we do not have any further questions, we will finish our presentation part. The last question, just want to double check, GB 79.6 is hopefully to be published in 2 years, right?
Yeah, hopefully to publish.
Okay, okay. So hopefully it will be that way. Okay. Now we will finish our presentation and thank you again for joining us. And if you have more questions, please send us your email. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Xu.